welcome everybody to today's interview, which we're conducting in the frame of our CESI Talks series. CESI Talk aims, with the support of the European Parliament, at raising awareness of our members and their affiliates, also for the benefits, but also for the flaws of the European Union and for the upcoming European elections and their importance. And today, I'm very, very pleased to have Mr. Chifor with us, Mr. Chifor from Romania. He's the president of the TESA trade union, which has its national council also on the 27th of May. And let me on this occasion congratulate you and your members for, I would say, the hard and fantastic work which has been done, and which during the pandemic, after the pandemic, and certainly also in the future. Mr. Chifor, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Secretary, for your nice words. That means a lot for our members.
We speak about your members, we speak about the health sector. What are currently the main challenges your trade union and your affiliates, your workers in the sector are actually facing?
Yes, I will try to be short. TESA Union was created as a result of the major lack of an active and sustained representation of economical, technical, and administrative personnel in the health field. So specifically, we represent this, but also we have other categories like doctors, nurses, biologists, and others. But basically, we are defending the non-medical personnel inside the hospitals. It's the administration of hospitals, a very important domain. Without this, none hospital can function. So regarding our fight, for 6 years, we have been struggling with an unfair wage law that has separated medical personnel from non-medical personnel, like technical, economic, administrative personnel in the health system. It was basically a payroll gap, a wage gap between the two categories, completely unfair and unjustified, destroying the spirit of the one team in hospitals and creating many collateral problems too. The explanation shortly for such kind of decision was in that time, 2017, that it will stop the leaving of doctors and nurses abroad. So for them, they were increased dramatically salaries, and for the others remain the same. No matter that we have the same studies, university degree, and such kind of discrimination. So it was a long-term fight caused by the lack of understanding, arrogance, and ignorance from the government side. We are in the same war today. Only small victories of us, it was in tribunals, and we improved a bit the situation of some workers just in this way, by justice. But that was limited and not sufficient. We now have the perspective of a new wage law that government is working on, but in a kind of secret atmosphere. There has not been a really consultation with the unions. And from this law, we are waiting for the remedy of this discrimination. So there is also a shortage of health personnel, including non-medical support staff. But recently, the government issued an ordinance to block the new employments in the next period. So that is the situation of the health sector. It's very tense. People has reached exasperation, and trust in the government and the political class, it's very low. Meanwhile, even nurses, which before has salary pretty good, relatively good, now because of power of buying in Romania was dramatically decreased as a result of dramatical increase of the prices. They are not anymore satisfied. So in this moment, except doctors, no one is satisfied. Let's be more concrete. So with a salary under 1,000 euro per month, you cannot cover or hardly can cover the bills and the food, while the price is at the level of the West, even maybe more. So today, in a present moment, we are talking, we have the personnel strike in education. So from schools, kindergarten, universities, all are in strike in this moment. That's happening after 18 years. And because of some similar reason, the humiliating level of wages for a country member of European Union. In the same time, the main federation from the health, including TESA Union, is preparing for strike.
Yeah, we are of course fully supporting you and your demands, and we are also sending a letter to the Romanian minister in
Thank you very much.
What strikes us always is, I mean, of course, on the one hand, this is domestic issue. On the other hand, you mentioned Romania as part of the European Union. I mean, if you're not willing to invest in health education, then you're not investing also in the future resilience of a society. You spoke of shortages of personnel. You spoke of work overload. What are the lessons learned if you look back to the pandemic? What was really striking in the moment of the pandemic for you?
Oh, that was very difficult times. It was very tough times, and I remember as a kind of terror times. So thanks God that it was finished. But the lessons, I think first I will tell that we should be prepared. We, meaning European Union, with equipment and sanitary materials. We, Europe, should not depend on countries like China, and to expect that just they produce everything and we don't produce anything, and just waiting that day to save us. That it was the lesson I think probably was learned by European Union. We should be careful also about not destroying democracy in the name of the health and the people's lives. We should not enter in the kind of health dictatorship. We should be prepared to treat all ill people as well, not just that who are affected by pandemic. Unfortunately, many people died not because of COVID, but because they are not treated in time, because fear of COVID. Definitely we should treat all, and we should not spread the panic by media. We have to remain calm and professional, and we should be careful also about some politicians and businessmen for the big pharma industries and medical industries, because in the name of health they make very big speculations, buying, for example, millions of vaccines who remain in our country not used and finally put in the trash with a lot of money. So I think that it's the main lessons what we should learn. And of course, unity of the European Union countries and cooperation between us in this domain.
You answered, I think, most of the questions already, but coming back to a little bit the efforts of the European Union also to build a European Health Union, EU health data space, and we have EU for health funding program, etc. So a lot has happened since the pandemic. What is, according to you, when you have the national perspective, but also the European perspective, necessary to ensure that healthcare systems are actually resilient?
For me, in this moment, I cannot have exactly an opinion about all this, because all these plans should be carefully studied. And I have to tell you that in Romania, there are very few known. So it's not talking about all this. So I can just tell you that, in my opinion, the future of health system in Europe should be one that put the people in the center, and one that people actually expected, and not one to be surrendered in the hands of the very wild capitalism. So should be more human and less profit orientated, but human orientated. And here we consider that the role of European Union, it's a key role and very challenging, of course.
You said to put people in the center. If we speak of the people, if we think of the European Union, next year we have the European elections coming up. What is your message for these upcoming European elections?
Well, I will tell that Romanian people were very much pro-European Union, but in the last years, this rating decreased substantially. According to the last poll made by Romanian Institute for Sociological Research called CURS in March 2023, A good impression about European Union has just 34% from Romanians. You can think that that is a bad score, but comparing with the trust in our politician, Romanian politician, it's actually good. Just 7% from Romanians has a good impression about our political class, our political parties, and just 8% appreciate the Romanian parliament. The same very bad score has the president of Romania and the government. So that is very worrying for the credibility of our democracy. 72% of Romanians is considering that the country in this moment is going in a bad direction. Personal, I consider that European Union has pretty much cold and technical image in Romania. It's all about money, funds, all spoken, kind of wooden language. But very rare we see some European Union official explaining to the people more precisely their work. So many times impression is that European Union is somewhere far from us, from the east, somewhere in Brussels, and from where they eventually will dictate or will try to impose us something. But many times people actually make a confusion between some bad action of multinational companies in our territory and European Union. So they make a confusion between European Union and some multinational companies. So put the blame not with the justice on European Union. Even the European Union didn't make these things. So in my opinion, European Union have to work more in the presentation of what they are doing exactly for the people, because otherwise it's misunderstood. Regarding election, I think you asked me. No?
Yes.
But regarding future election, I'm afraid that two main parties being in this moment at the government, which are theoretically and practically, let's say, they have these politics, pro-Western and pro-European, pro-NATO, are very much compromised by their own incompetence, by the lack of results, and by impression that they are just some tools of foreigners who took control of our country by their huge investigation. So I'm afraid that I predict a good score for the nationalist and sovereignist opposition party called our Alliance for Unity of Romania. And on the other hand, there is a big problem because there is no alternative for that ones who doesn't support the nationalist, but they support Europe, they support Western values, but they are disappointed by these two parties who didn't confirm. So their alternative is just the sovereignist nationalist, which actually have a politic very similar with what is happening in Hungary or Poland, or maybe in Italy. So I'm afraid that situation, it's pretty tough in Romania regarding politics and regarding trade unions.
Mr. Chifor, what we're doing right now is, I think, somehow an exercise which I think is great in the sense that, first of all, we are unionists, both of us, and second of all, we are practicing now, really in practice, the principle of cooperation. And I think this is, by the end of the day, something which is so fundamentally important and which is so often forgotten within the European Union. So if you think of a cold technical image the European Union has, this is why we're also organizing these type of interviews, also to show faces, to show that we are accessible. But also, I must say, I think the more, and I've been working many years here in Brussels, the more people criticize also the European Union for being, cold or inapproachable, the more I notice that when you work, when you try to work, when you try to influence, that they're actually very permeable. And this is, once again, Mr. Chifor, thanks a lot, because the basis for that is cooperation.
I know that, but just they have to be, that image, what you know from inside, should show more also outside.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's fantastic. Thank you for your time, for your moment. And I really hope we meet in person very soon.
That will be nice. That will be nice. We are invited all the time when you want in Romania. We will wait you with a very big pleasure.
I will come, I promise, Mr. Chifor.
Thank you for your very big support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.